Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Thumbnail Roast. So all the channels that I'm going to be roasting in this video have filled out a form. It's linked below if you want to fill it out and you possibly want me to roast your videos. I also want to mention, please be nice in the comments. This is a supportive community. We're all helping each other grow our channels. Alright, so the first channel here is Orbit for Creators. So I'm not going to watch any of the videos or anything like that. This is just purely the thumbnails. Obviously, this is a thumbnail channel. Alright, so let's talk about it. There's a few that stand out for me. Very quick, easy things that we could fix. One mistake that I see a lot of creators making is giving away the answer to the video in the thumbnail. And I think this one here is a perfect example of that. So, she left The Verge, now what? So, I know what, because you tell me she's holding a subscriber plaque. So in this packaging here, she left The Verge, and now I see her holding a subscriber plaque. I already know what happens, so why would I click it? So, oh, okay, this person left The Verge and now they have their own channel and it's doing well. There's no reason for me to watch the video. You've already told me the answer. So what I think would work much better is having them walk away from The Verge, maybe the building of The Verge. The second mistake to mention is she left The Verge. Why isn't The Verge logo in the thumbnail? The Verge is like an established brand that a lot of people recognize. And if the video is about this person leaving The Verge, then the two main things that you need to have in the thumbnail is that person who's leaving The Verge and The Verge. Because otherwise the video's premise isn't being spelled out visually, which is one of the main goals with thumbnail design. You really just want to spell out. So the it's crazy here, it's not that crazy. I know the answer. So it's not going to be a surprise for me just yet. So I would just not tell the answer in the thumbnail, basically. Let's look at some more. I started watching this one here. He met Ali Abdaal once and got a job. Why isn't Ali Abdaal in the thumbnail? I would actually not have you in the thumbnail. So 1.3k subs. So most likely you're not going to be, people aren't clicking the video because of you just yet. They're clicking because of the premise of the video. So you're not building a personality-led channel, so you don't have to be in the thumbnail. So instead here, what I would probably do is have Ali Abdaal in the thumbnail, and then have this guy in the thumbnail, possibly even pixelate his face, because, you know, if he's not famous, I don't know this guy, maybe he is well-known, but if he's not famous, then I'm not clicking because of his face, and I'm not clicking because of your face. But I'm presuming a lot of your audience, all about growing on YouTube and stuff, they're going to know who Ali Abdaal is. So you would want Ali Abdaal in the thumbnail. So he met Ali Abdaal once and got a job. It would be, you know, a picture of Ali Abdaal and he works for him. Something like that would work quite well. All right, let's look at some more. So obviously she's very famous. She's crushing it on YouTube. I know this guy as well. You have quite a few interviews with people that I know, which is really cool. So you have like big names on here. One thing to mention is just because your podcast has big names doesn't mean that instantly actually results in views, which I think a lot of people who start YouTube think will happen. A lot of people who have a podcast or something or do interviews think that, oh, if I land this one guest, then I'm going to get a ton of views. There are so many interviews out there with very famous people who just don't get a lot of views. It's really not as simple as, you know, get famous person, get views. I think the last one that I'll talk about is this one here. Should we start a podcast? Yes. An honest conversation about starting a podcast. Again, you're kind of telling me the answer in the thumbnail. So, an honest conversation about starting a podcast. There's quite a bit of drama in that title idea. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, maybe it's more risky, maybe it's not worth it. So I have all these questions in my head when I read an honest conversation about starting a podcast. But then you're telling me the answer straight away in the thumbnail saying, yeah, you should. So you've just answered the curiosity gap immediately in the thumbnail. If you're setting up a curiosity gap in the packaging, so the thumbnail and the title, then don't answer it in the packaging. All right, so channel number 2. I had to scroll through and I think you have a really, really cool idea, but I didn't actually understand the idea until I read the form that you filled out. So I'll just read that out real quick. My channel is about showing my Lego models I design mainly as an alternative models of Lego sets. So I reuse the parts from one set and turn them into something else. I think that is such an awesome premise. It's a really cool idea for a channel. But with most of these thumbnails, I don't understand that premise, and that's really important. So with this one here, you've done a good job. You know, you can see this car and then it turns into this car. I don't think it's dramatic enough. I think you should play around with the layout for that one because it's a good concept. This one here, buy this, build that. It's so small that I can't even see what's on that box. and then you're hiding to me the actual result. So how am I meant to know that the result is completely different to what's on the box? So I actually wouldn't hide the end result for this one here. All right, let's have a look at some more. So this one here, this is an alternative. So how am I meant to know that that's an alternative? What's the starting point? What are you going from to change it to something else? Same thing here. It's a really nice thumbnail in terms of the design, but in terms of getting the point across that you're somehow turning one thing into another thing, that is not obvious. This one here, easy way of cleaning Lego sets. I think that's a good idea for a video. This concept here, I would probably more go down the SEO route. So see what people are searching for specifically and then call the title that. So people might search for how to clean Lego set or something like that. Then I would call it that instead. Because this concept here most likely won't be like a viral thing, but it does have good potential for SEO as it's a problem that probably a lot of people in this community have and they're looking for a solution for that. Again, this one here, alternative model, you need to find a good format of showing how I go from this to this. So I'll open up Camera Draw. So you want the thumbnail and you probably want something like, you know, the box here of the original and then here to whatever the new car is or whatever it is. This is my drawing of a car. Okay, this is terrible. So yeah, you go from this and let's say that this is a helicopter. That's my helicopter there. All right, so this is the helicopter box. There we go. That's a 3D box. And then, you know, you'd obviously want the Lego logo in here. So that you'll have the Lego logo there. So it's going from how did I turn this helicopter set into a car? Then here the premise is very obvious. Now for your channel, one thing to bear in mind, if you haven't watched my video about writing YouTube titles, I recommend watching that. That can be quite useful. Basically, for a channel like this, you want to show something difficult. So if you're in education, most of the time you're going to present the stuff as easy. So if just for my channel, for example, thumbnails, the one trick to instantly boosting your click-through rate. Because in education, you want to make something sound easy. So it's like, anyone can do this. It's so easy to do. Whereas in entertainment like you're doing, it's the opposite. It needs to be, how did they pull that off? That sounds so difficult to do. So the more similar, so this one, you know, that looks kind of similar to that. So I can see, okay, that could be possible to do. But the more difficult it is to pull off, there's a bigger curiosity gap. They'll be like, how did they manage to do that? I want to find out, and then they'll click. Cool, I hope that was helpful. Let's go to the next one. All right, number 3. This one here has 2.4 million subscribers, so it's a very large channel, and it's in Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish. However, I actually do think that will be an advantage for this. With thumbnail design, I often talk about that. You want to be able to tell what the video's premise is without having to read the title. And since I cannot read Spanish, this is going to be a very good test of that. So this one here, I think, is an absolutely amazing thumbnail. Obviously, it's kind of obvious as well from the text here. I'm presuming reconstructing inventions from The Simpsons. But still, you understand that just from the thumbnail. It's a really good thumbnail here. So here I see a clip from The Simpsons, and then here I see what you've made. It's absolutely perfect. There's very small stuff that you could do, like maybe get rid of the thing that's on your t-shirt, the logo there, but it's not a big problem. For the one you posted 2 weeks ago, 190,000 views, obviously incredibly impressive. But there are some small stuff that you could do A/B tests of that could be quite useful. The first thing I just want to mention is this photo of you, the grass behind you, it looks like you're as tall as the grass. I presume that's not anything to do with the video. So I would just probably make that background a lot clearer. Just do like a blue sky background or something, or just like, something blurry and with not that much detail, because there's quite a bit of detail here in the background, especially because it's such a low angle of the grass. It's just a bit confusing. So yeah, I would fix that. I'm presuming this title is Reconstructing Inventions from Japan. If that's the case, then maybe put, for an A/B test, maybe have Japan's flag in the thumbnail, or like an outline of Japan or something like that, or maybe use a font that looks kind of Japanese. You just want to make it very obvious about the premise of the video. So I think that could help a bit. Speaking of, this one here, I'm presuming this is like buying objects from famous people off Facebook Marketplace. If so, how am I meant to know that this is Facebook Marketplace from the thumbnail? So I would probably, actually, I'm going to draw this one. All right, for this one here, so you have Messi, which I think is very good to include. So how would I do this? I think you should have still definitely have Messi in here. I would probably have you, and then here in the middle, I would have the Facebook Marketplace logo, so we instantly understand the premise. Then I would have a pizza slice here, so you'd have the pizza, and then you could also have how much you paid for it, so let's just say $17. Now I think it's a bit more obvious what the premise of the video is. It's like, oh, okay, you're buying pizza from Messi, and I can see it's taking place on Facebook Marketplace. And obviously you want to make sure that this design here looks very realistic. Kind of look at Ryan Trahan for inspiration with his Yelp reviews, Alex Hormozy for inspiration with his tweets, that kind of design style for this square here. But yeah, obviously you are crushing it. There's no reason to pretend you're not. I love that thumbnail. This thumbnail here is awesome. And just to mention it actually, so what he's done here is a really good job of making it look like a screenshot. So a lot of people that kind of go around this route here in this kind of entertainment style of videos, often they'll make it look so extreme that it doesn't look realistic. Whereas this here looks like a screenshot. And often you'll find that screenshot looking thumbnails perform quite well. And that's because we think, oh, this actually happened. Whereas the ones that are hyper over designed, your first instinct isn't, oh, this actually happened. And this here is just a really great job. I really like the small detail here of the car and this car here with a motion blur looking like you're actually driving in traffic. I think this thumbnail here is absolutely 10 out of 10. Sorry to interrupt. If you're finding this useful, I have a survey linked in the description just so I can find out more about my audience. I want to be as helpful as possible, and to do that, I just need to know a bit about my audience. It takes like 30 seconds to fill out, and yeah, it would mean a lot. Thanks. All right, so here is the next one. Robin Styler. Your videos are absolutely crushing it, having 20,000 subscribers, getting 73,000 views, 13,000 views, 170,000 views, 80,000 views, 177,000 views. You're absolutely crushing it. In your form, you said your most recent video flopped, and I would love some insight on why. So that's this video here, 7 free games I think you should play. So again, how are you visually showing to me in the thumbnail what the video is about? I don't know that they're free. I actually don't even understand that they're games. So 7 free games I think you should play. You need to visually tell me that they're free. So I'll just screenshot this and bring this in here. So I'm presuming this is your character from the videos, which it looks like it is, but you don't have that in all of these thumbnails here. And they're the ones that are winning. So this one here, or we'll just search by popular. So your top videos here actually have a different kind of drawing of you, which is interesting. So why have you switched to a different character for it? All of these that have like a cartoon version of you, haven't used that for this one. So if you're using a drawn version of you in the thumbnail, then use the same one that you've always used. So all the people that have watched these videos, because it's a lot of views, all of the people that have watched those videos, they'll recognize that and then think, oh, I like this video, then I'll probably like this video. But you have a different drawing of you, so no one's going to recognize it. So I would have you here in the corner, like this drawing of you or a drawing of you. You want to make it obvious that they're all free. So maybe have $0 or the word free. And then the games could be shown in a bunch of different ways. You could have characters. Now, there's a few different ways of playing this. You either do characters that no one's ever seen before, and people think, who's this character? I've never seen this before, I want to find out. Or you go down the different route, and this is the route that I would recommend. You use characters that people recognize. So you're leveraging their recognizability. So I'm presuming this is the guy from Halo. I don't play a lot of video games, as you can tell. So I think this is the guy from Halo. If so, have him, here in the corner, and then maybe have some other characters here as well. I would probably only go 2, actually. Yeah, probably only 2 or 3, because if you're having you here as well, it will just become a lot of elements. So probably only 2. Have the word $0. So then I know who this video is from, which is you. I see what the video is about. Hey, these are characters from games. And I see $0. So you quickly understand the premise of the video. Video games that are $0 presented by this guy. So what you could do is test this in 2 versions. One without you, and one with you. So you could do version 1, which is you here in the corner, and then version 2, which is just $0, and then you have 3 very recognized characters here from these games. This here is just very easy to understand the premise. Also, another thing, you are clearly crushing it with this DS niche. So 28,000 views, 42,000, 73,000, 170,000, 80,000, 177,000. And then you also have Pokemon. So you already have these two niches which are established and clearly working for you with 23,000 subscribers and 170,000 views and 180,000 views. You're clearly like crushing it with these niches. So I would just double down on them. If the DS niche is working for you, then instead of trying to go broader and say 7 free games, because obviously the TAM for this video, TAM being total addressable market, will be a lot larger. A lot more people can click on a video being free games because you don't have to be into DS or into Pokemon to click on that video. But instead of trying to go for a much broader niche, you know, this DS niche here, if that's working for you, maybe double down on it and maybe try to come up with more ideas for DS or for Pokemon. Yeah, really just establish like, hey, I'm the DS channel. That's your thing. Cool, thanks so much. I hope that was helpful. You are crushing it and best of luck. All right, next we have this channel here, which is 49 subscribers. So a starting channel. Let's talk about it. So you have videos that are in 2 languages here. And from what it looks like, you upload the same video in 2 languages. So let's talk about it. I think these video premises are quite good. 5 years of mewing, results, experience, and advice. I think that's a really good premise for a video. 2 centimeters taller, testing the trending challenge. I don't know what the challenge is. 2 centimeters taller. Is that a challenge? If that's a challenge that people know, then ignore me, but I haven't heard of this challenge. It's kind of confusing to understand here what the video is about. Is it about you trying to become taller? Is it about this person? Is it about this island here? I don't really understand what the video is about. There's just a lot of information going on. Does it matter that it's on an island? The sunset as well just has quite a few details going on. So I would really make this a lot more simple because it's a cool idea for a video. So I'll just have you in the center probably. This here is a measuring thing, 160 centimeters, 162 centimeters. Now I can see here from the thumbnail that this video here is about you becoming taller. If that's the premise of the video, make that as obvious as possible. The mistake that a lot of people do is they think for a thumbnail to be successful, I have to throw in as much as possible to make anyone interested, whereas you really want to do the opposite. Your goal is to have the least amount of stuff possible in the thumbnail. If you could only have one thing in a thumbnail, that's the best case scenario. Now, most realistically, you know, you'll probably have 2 or 3 kind of elements in a thumbnail, but the less, the better. Now, another quick tip for beginners that I think is worth mentioning is with backgrounds, you only want your background to be detailed if it is providing context on the video. This here, if the video is not about this sunset on this island here, then it is just making me confused. There's just more visual information and it's not providing context on what the video is about. If the video is about you becoming taller, then having a busy background is not going to help get that point across. So, you know, this here, that could just be a wall. Oh, I would just do a wall or something like that. And then this text here is maybe like, you know, drawn in with Sharpie or something. And then it looks like, you know, you're drawing on a wall measuring your height. So I think that would visually get that point across. And then with this one here, 5 years of mewing, results, experience, and advice. I think you've done the right idea with the layout here. But again, there's just a lot of stuff going on. You have the things in the background with like the diagrams of the face. I don't think you need that. So what I would do is just simplify it. You have you here on the side, and then you have you here again on the side, looking the other way. I apologize for my drawings. Day 1, you could do day 1825. So you would still have you here on the side, but then instead of this silhouette drawing that you have, you would just have you pixelated. So this is very typical in the fitness niche, fitness transformation, something like that. So you could either go down a route like this, where you literally show the before and after. And I would obviously only recommend that if there are massive changes. If there's not actually a big change, a big transformation, then you would probably just pixelate it. Or you would go down something like this where it is pixelated. And that's probably if the results aren't crazy impressive. But yeah, it's worth A/B testing both. Cool, I hope that was useful. Best of luck on your YouTube journey. All right, this is the last one here. If you haven't been reviewed, I do apologize. I actually had a lot of people fill out the form, way more than I expected. If this video gets traction and people seem to like this series, then I will do more. And hopefully I will review yours in the next episode or in the coming episodes. Before I review this one, I just want to say, let me know in the comments what you think about this. What did you like about this video? What do you think needs improving? Just so I can make better videos in the future and be as useful to you as possible. This thumbnail roast series is not intended to go viral. I just want to be genuinely useful in these videos and help out my subscribers. All right, so this last one here, VHS Neon, 1.3 thousand subscribers. So, I just want to say your thumbnails are really cool. I have to say, I'm a big fan. I think they are very cool. So, in the form, they said, I'm pretty bad at self-roasting or critiquing, so your opinion would be great. Since my channel is very retro-themed, including all of my videos have a VHS aesthetic, I try to convey that in my thumbnails too. You've obviously done a very good job of that. You can clearly tell the VHS aesthetic. I think these are really good, to be honest. This is more difficult. Very small thing here, Rambo Part 2. It looks like this is Part 2 of a video, and since most of the planet haven't seen Part 1, you're just saying to people here, hey, only the people who watched Part 1 can enjoy this one. Even though I understand that it is about Rambo Part 2, it still looks like it is about Rambo the movie, and this is Part 2 of your first video, if that makes sense. This is quite difficult because I do think the thumbnails are really cool and unique, and it's obvious what they're about. So that does make this more difficult. I think if you're doing like video essays and stuff, this is just a really cool, different angle, very unique, just different. You'll stand out with this. I think I would recommend having a look at your retention graphs and just seeing if the retention is good. I think that could maybe be a bottleneck. I've only had a quick look at one of the videos to understand the aesthetics, but yeah, have a look at that, because if the retention isn't that great, then YouTube's basically going to see, oh, okay, people are clicking on these videos, but when they start watching, they don't stick around for that long, so then YouTube isn't incentivized to push it further. So that's basically how the algorithm works. It's not that complicated. People make it seem very complicated. It's just, do people click? And then when they click, do they stick around? That's pretty much it. There's other metrics as well, like average session durations and all of this other stuff. But they're the main two things that you need to think about. But yeah, I would have a look at that. And then I think the thing that could help you the most would be choosing brands that have a very large total addressable market. So GTA obviously has a large total addressable market. GTA Vice City changed gaming. So the title here is quite intriguing, but maybe you could make it even more intriguing. So GTA Vice City changed gaming. In what way? Like, how did it change gaming? Is it just it was better? Maybe adding more to the curiosity gap and making it more obvious could help, but not spelling out the answer, obviously. This here, Control, is the perfect mystery game. I'm presuming, I don't know this game. Again, I'm not a big gamer, but I'm presuming it might have a small total addressable market. So the ideas that you're picking, ideally you choose games and movies that have a reasonably large total addressable market. So big followings, very known brands, that will probably help. All right, cool. I hope that was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. If you are new to thumbnail design and you want some help, then check out this video here. I go deep into thumbnail design and why stuff like saturation and contrast just doesn't matter. It's generic advice. As you heard in this video, I didn't mention that stuff once. Click on this video here for a full masterclass in thumbnail design.